Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm more than thrilled and excited to interview someone today who has cracked AIMS entrance exams, one of the most difficult entrance exams, not just once, not twice, but thrice. And today I'm going to interview Dr. Aditya Sanjay Gupta. He has secured an All India rank 6 in AIPMT 2012, and in the same year in AIMS UG exam he had an all India rank of 10. Following that in AIMS PG 2018 May he had an all India rank of 17, and in 2021 he secured all India rank 2 in Pediatric Oncology SS exam. So I heartily welcome Dr. Aditya. So welcome. Hello sir, how are you?
Hi Divya, how are you? Um, uh, this
I'm
feels a
doing
bit
good.
awkward considering my wife, but okay. It's a bit weird to be interviewed by your own wife, but that's okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so we will be talking about NEET SS preparation today. So first of all, you have cracked all these exams in your first attempt. Did you find any pattern in all these exams? Is there anything common?
I think I've said this multiple times that for any competitive exam, and since we are specifically talking about DM entrance examination and SS entrance examination as well, there are few things which are common across every exam, be it UG, PG, or DM. And since we're talking about DM, a good concepts, your concise notes because the syllabus is vast irrespective of exam, and a revision in the last 1 week to 10 days. If you're able to do this, irrespective of the exam, you will be able to crack it. So even for my DM entrance examination, for AIMS, my strategy was very similar. The exact same strategy that I had followed for my PG entrance or my UG entrance. That I had a material which I knew what to revise in the last 1 week. I revised that in the last 1 week, and I gave the exam. So this is, I feel, what is common between all the exams. That if you are able to you have to make notes, you have to make your own notes, so ideally handwritten notes, and those notes you have to revise in the last 7 to 10 days, and then you have to give the exam. And obviously your basic knowledge, your knowledge in postgraduate examination and in your SS examination, especially in SS, the basic knowledge, if you're going for pediatric SS, then your basic knowledge of your general pediatrics, of your basic management of common conditions, those guidelines, they should be on your tips. That basics obviously always end up carrying you through.
Okay, so did you follow a particular study schedule? Did you had a timeline in your mind that 1 year before that exam I should be here, 3 months before the exam I should be here? Did you follow a certain study schedule? And if so, how did you plan or create that schedule, and how did you make sure that you stick to it?
So I feel that it's always important that you, for someone who's doing their pediatric residency right now, that or if you are doing your SR-ship, or if you are currently in SR-ship, or if you're preparing for the entrance, like I feel 6 months, 3 months to 6 months for DM entrance examination actually is more than enough. And the simple schedule simply should be in a way that in 3 4 months you rush through the vast majority of the syllabus and you make notes. And then in the last 2 months, last 2 to 3 months, you essentially revise those notes, and then a final sprint and a final run through in the last week, and that's about it. Obviously, the syllabus will feel vast if we are talking about the resources. If you're talking about the study resources, if you're thinking, let's say Nelson, we're going to feel doing about Nelson. It may feel vast. However, the trick is to recognize the important topics, and the important topics are some. Let me be very clear. It's no magic to recognize important topics. Anything that we see on a daily basis, the examiners are the same examiners who are teaching us. So obviously, topics like tuberculosis, celiac, or in oncology, ALL and AML, these will be important topics, right? They will be asked in exam. If I'm preparing, let's say I'm preparing specifically for INISS, for pediatric oncology, then obviously the most common malignancies, the questions that are going to come from there are going to be much, much, much more important than a random rare malignancy. I would obviously expect more questions to be asked from ALL, AML, their cytogenetics and their common, presentation and management, rather than being asked from a, let's say malignant peripheral nerve sheath tumor or something on those lines. So those things, rarer things are asked rarely, common things are asked commonly. So what you see on a daily basis in your practice, specifically talking from DM entrance point of view, those are your common topics, and their basic concepts, their guidelines, and how to approach them. including their pathophysiology, including their first and second year thing, should be on the tips. You basically brush through them over in the 3 months, make your concise notes, then again go through them twice, next 2 months and 1 month, and in last 7 days, and that's about it. That's actually more than enough to get the rank that you desire.
Okay,
And I
so
was able to stick through it simply because I knew that I have to do it. Like there is no matlab, I know that if you're working, it becomes difficult. And I was also obviously I was working in the residency. The good thing was that towards the end of the residency, irrespective of whichever college you are, the last 6 months are slightly on the leaner side as far as the work is concerned, because you are given not holidays, but you're given some amount of free time is given to senior to prepare for the MD exit exam as well. So I got that free time and I utilized both it for preparation of my MD exit exam and for my SS exam preparation.
okay, so Dr. Aditya just gave a very beautiful advice that you have to prioritize your syllabus portions, focus on all the things that are common, that you see commonly during your residency, that have more chances of being asked in the exam, rather than those rare syndromes and rare nitpicks that might be asked. So, what were your resources during this preparation? Did you follow some material, pre-made material, or you went through that hard traditional way of reading the books, standard books?
I went through the hard traditional way of reading a standard textbook. So I not fully I'll say, but for important topics. Again I'll say. So Nelson is like, for example, we have to read Nelson. We don't need to read the entire Nelson, to be very honest. Again, important topics have to be read from Nelson. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to give my DMSS examination and I haven't read epilepsy from Nelson in the first place. Or I haven't read that entire table of epilepsy, those syndromes and also on so forth from Nelson. Those important topics and tables, which is valid for every other DM and SSA also. Like, even for, let's say, medicine, people do end up saying that you need to know the Harrison tables in and out. The same is valid for Nelson. You don't need to probably read the entire Nelson, but the important tables, which we are able to recognize them ourselves simply because of the fact that they are common things, they are asked repeatedly. Those tables, once read through them and then made notes and made a note of those things which are important for specifically for the pediatric oncology part, or if someone is interested in INSS pediatric mythology oncology specifically, in that particular regard, I'll say that Lanzowski is the best book. For your general pediatrics part, you just do Nelson and you make concise notes. You make notes that you can revise. And at the same point of time, for oncology part, Lanzowski is the go-to book. You really don't need to do Pizzo. You really don't need to do Nathan and Oski. Some people keep on asking me this: do we need to do Pizzo or Nathan and Oski? You really don't need to do that. All you need to do is Lanzowski and be thorough with Lanzowski in some go. And you can Lanzowski, in my opinion, a very very good book. Like very concise, precise. And it gets done very easily. And you can make very small. The tables of Lanzowski are really nice, which you can actually use in your exam.
So, a very genuine question. How did you manage time for everything? Like, along with residency, studies, and I'm sure your personal life, your events with the family. How did you manage all these things together and manage to crack this exam with an amazing rank?
So I I'll say I did not manage. It's very simple. You have to I will say you have to compartmentalize. If when you're going to the hospital, you're working in the hospital. Nothing else comes to your mind. When you're coming back, when you're studying, plain and simple. At that point of time, family or personal life, as you might remember, I did not talk with you that much. Plain and simple. I mean, I talked with you for half an hour. I talked with you for half an hour fully, and I did not think about what my interest is going to be or everything. So you just have to compartmentalize in a way, especially in the last 6 months. So if I have to study daily on a 6 to 8 hours basis, then you have to study for 6 to 8 hours basis. And at that point of time, you really don't need to think about what's going on in your family, what's going on with your fiance, or what's going on with your wife. I know it's tough, but if you are able to compartmentalize and give it not in 6 hours in one go, but even in chunks of 2 hours done 3 times, you 6 hours of study at this level at point of time, I think is more than enough. For a continuous duration of 3 months, you just have to go through your books once, make notes, revise them towards the end, and give the exam. That's more than enough, especially for DM entrance and pediatric specialties are concerned.
So consistency is the key, right? So
Consistency.
how do you maintain this motivation to be consistent throughout your preparation? Any tips for us?
You just have to be disciplined. There is no tip. You don't need to be motivated. I keep on telling this multiple times that discipline is the key to success. There is no key to being motivated. You can watch tons of videos on whichever platform you have, but the discipline comes from inside. The day you get disciplined, the day you will achieve success. Plain and simple. There is nothing I can say, nothing you can say, nothing someone on YouTube can say that will make you motivated and suddenly disciplined. They can make you maybe motivate you for a day or so, and that keeps you gets the fire burning. But the inside fire burning comes from inside. So if you really want to crack this exam, you yourself will be disciplined enough for the next 3 months, next 6 months, that you will be able to crack this exam. So for example, if let's say you're preparing for November NISS, then 6 months are there. Or if you're preparing for NEET SS for the next 3 months, if you're dedicated enough, by yourself that dedication will come and you'll be able to study for 6-7 hours on a daily basis. If you're not dedicated, if this is a secondary goal in your mind, then obviously you will be distracted, and distractions are everywhere.
Okay, so discipline more than motivation, right? So, was there any mentor in your life during this phase? Someone you looked up to whenever things were going haywire or getting out of control?
I would say that my professors here at AIMS themselves were big enough a mentor for me. I'll say Dr. Aditya, my namesake. He was my thesis guide. He was definitely one of my mentors. And otherwise, also my parents. They have always supported me. They have always been like, you can easily do it. You were also there, sort of an anchoring in some way. But I would say that whichever place that you are, you will find someone senior who would be able to tell you that, yeah, hey, you can do it. You will be easily able to do it. Consider that your mentor, and consider have one inspiring figure in your life whom you look up to. That can be a professor, that can be someone you like, that can be any athlete also, and see that they have put in the efforts, so you have to put in the efforts, plain and simple.
So, having a mentor is very important during this preparation. Someone to guide you through, someone to
Not
hold the guide.
No, no, not really. Having a mentor is not really important, but having a mentor helps, I will say. If there is no mentor, that is not an excuse to not crack the exam. Having a mentor obviously helps. I won't deny that. But if no one is your mentor, then you yourself are your mentor, I'll say. Uh, Cracking the DM or any entrance examination is simply a function of revising the syllabus 2 to 3 times. For that, you need concise notes and a final revision in last days. Having good enough of basic knowledge. Mentor just pushes you through, hey, that you can do it, keeps you motivated in those slump periods. It's good to have them. Even if you don't have them, you yourself can be your own mentor.
Okay. So now just let us talk about the exam day. I know at your time we were getting engaged like a day or two before the exam. And how did you manage your energy levels, your focus during that time? And how did you manage your anxiety, if any, were there?
So I think a lot of people don't know this, that my DM entrance examination was on 17th or 16th of April, and we got engaged on so it was on 17th of April, and we got engaged on 14th of April. So the simple thing is, like I said, you have to compartmentalize. I knew that I'm going to get engaged on 14th April 2 months before, so I knew that prior to my engagement, 4 or 5 days or even a week, up to a week, I really won't be able to dedicate times to my studies. So I completed the syllabus and I completed my reading and made my notes. Prior to that, from 8th or 9th of April, I did not really get time till the time the engagement got done. After engagement got done, I had 2 days. In those 2 days, I had my two notebooks, which I knew that I have to revise on the last 2 days. I revised those. Those were the like really high yield things I keep on forgetting. My own notes. I was easily able to revise those two notebooks in the last 2 days. I gave the exam and I cracked. So this is how that's why I keep on emphasizing that a lot of people keep on talking that you will get distracted by multiple things. Yes, you will get distracted if you're trying to do multiple things at the same point of time. If you're able to compartmentalize, you can actually achieve multiple things at the same go. If you're, let's say, you're a working resident who wants to crack this in the first attempt, or let's say you have just completed your residency last year, you are working at a hospital as a senior resident, uh, or you have your own practice, compartmentalize. 9 to 5 is your practice, great, come back. Whatever you want to do, you spend time with your family 1 or 2 hours. Then compartmentalize in that those 3 hours when you're studying, and another block of 2 to 3 hours when you're studying, nothing comes to your mind. That is your self discipline and over motivation. And make sure that you are able to revise the syllabus in the last 1 week and just then give the exam. That's actually more than enough.
Okay, so I think we had a really amazing session. Got a lot of useful advice. I think people might be benefiting from this session because they got such amazing advices. Like summarizing, firstly, you have to compartmentalize your time. You have to manage your time. There are 24 hours in a day, and you have to somehow fit and make a balance, work life balance. And along with that, manage to study. Compartmentalize your time. Second is prioritizing your syllabus. Divide your syllabus. Most common things will be asked first, rare things would be secondary, right? And lastly, prepare in such a way that at the last time you have a concise material which you can go through at the end time.
Something I'll say towards the end, like, if you're preparing, even if you're starting your preparation right now, you have already given your MD exit examination, it means that when you were giving your MD exit examination, even if you had not, let's say, not read Nelson, you definitely would have read PG textbook of pediatrics, and you would have read some parts from Nelson at least. You have 3 months now. 3 months. The simple thing would be that for the first 2 months, 2.5 months, you go through everything, make your own set of notes, and you revise those set of notes towards the last 10 days, and then you give the exam. Even if you're able to do this, your chances of cracking this exam and getting a really good rank is really nice. At the same point of time, simultaneously, you can choose, for example, DocTutorials. DocTutorials are a really good Q bank. Just keep on practicing some questions and keep on giving 2-3 GTs on a weekly, on a twice a weekly basis. That ensures that the practice of MCQs is done. So these 3 months, if you're able to do this, even then in these 3 months, is more than enough for you to crack the DM entrance examination.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya. I think we can wind up the session now.
Yeah, definitely.